Hello and welcome to another episode with your favorite Project Lead the Way teacher, Mr. Spaeth. Today we're going to be working with AutoCAD Inventor and specifically taking our puzzle piece parts that we've been making in our previous videos and annotating them in a multi-view drawing. So to get started, let me share my screen with you and let's open up Inventor. So I actually already have it open. I'm going to close all this and we're going to start new. So Autodesk Inventor 2015. First thing that we're going to do, we're going to make sure we have our thumb drive in our computer. And again, I don't like using this screen, so I just cancel it out. First thing I want to do is set my project path. So I go to Projects. It looks like it's already set for me right there, but we would just go to Browse if we don't see it, and then find on your thumb drive where it's located. So mine is located right here. So just click on that and open. We got our check mark right next to Puzzle Cube, so we're done there. We're going to go to New, Mesmer, and this time we're going to use a drawing file. Okay, so we've already used the part file to make specific parts, assembly file to put together our full Puzzle Cube itself, and then now our drawing file to make annotated multi-view drawings of our puzzle parts. So we're going to bring in a part file to this drawing file. So go Create. And it asks us a couple questions. So we are drawing in AutoCAD right now to scale, meaning we are not drawing all our dimensions in half, like say it's actually 4 inches, but we're going to draw it in 2 inches just to save space. We are drawing 1 to 1 inch. So that should be our scale. What block are you in? So make sure you put your block in there on the teacher, so I basically have no block. I'll go block 0. Your name. And then we're going to do our blue piece today. I'm just going to name the drawing blue piece. Okay, so here we are, nice little header with Mesmer Catholic School Shield on there, and everything else set up on our header like it should be, already put in for you. The first thing that we need to do is bring in a part. So we're going to click this base button. And then we are going to hit this open an existing file, and it should take you right to your Puzzle Cube folder because you set your project path. So we are going to grab our blue piece. I just double click it, and now I don't want to click anything else yet. Okay, what I actually want to do is drag this box out of the way because look what my mouse is doing. Okay, so it has my puzzle piece on there, a 2D version of it. The first view that I'm going to place is my front view, so I'm going to put it on the bottom left-hand corner of my page. Leave some room for dimensions. So I would say like right about here, right above where it says blue piece and Mr. Spaeth, and then maybe a third of the way up your page. We can always move these around later, but we want to drop 4 views. Notice I can drop my right side view by clicking over here. I can drop my top view by clicking above my front side view, and I can drop an isometric view just by clicking at an angle away from my front view. So once we've dropped those, all I'm doing is just left clicking. I'm going to right click now and go Create. And there we have it. Now I can add some color here, and it's very, very simple. Notice when I hover over a view, the little red lines show up around them. I'm going to hover over my isometric view. Again, it brings up this box. I'll drag it over to myself now. And I'm just going to go put Shaded on, and look, it actually colors it for us, which is really nice. Again, you can move these around as you see fit. Just make sure you don't click on one of these lines and move it, because that does some weird stuff. So just whenever you see those little red lines and the little move symbol by your mouse, then you can feel free to move it wherever you want. Okay. So we have our front view, our top view, and our right side view. Again, you can move those however you want. Notice though, by moving your front view, you move the rest of the views too. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on these. So again, when we're putting dimensions on, I rarely, if ever, use above my top side view or to the left side of my top side view. And I rarely, if ever, use the bottom of my piece and the right side of my right side view. Okay, just kind of, I like to keep all my dimensions within this little square that I'm outlining right now with my mouse, just to make sure that everything looks really, really nice. Sometimes I can't do that, and there's dimensions I need to put out on the outsides. But for right now, we should be able to do everything within that little box. Okay, so we're going to go to Annotate, the Annotate tab, and we're going to use the Dimension command. So there's a bunch of other commands over there that we'll learn later, but our Dimension command is really, really nice. Okay, so we want to dimension our features. So notice with this little part sticking up right here, this is a great feature to dimension. So all I do is I click, not, let me grab dimension again. Notice you can click this green portion, meaning like the middle of the part, and you can click the corners. Couple ways to dimension. You can click corners and then drag up, or you can not click a corner at all. Notice there's no green highlighted, and it just picks the corners right there for me. Okay, so be careful, because sometimes what you really want to do is click nothing, click none of those green dots, but what you end up doing is clicking a green dot, going up here, and I get a lot of questions like, Mr. Spate, this isn't working. Okay, so be careful with what you're clicking here. So if ever you want to get out of dimension, I just push escape. Notice I'm in it right now, it's highlighted, I push escape, and I'm out of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and dimension just the top of our top side view. Now, every time you make a dimension, this window pops up. I find it extremely annoying, and so I unclick this button, Edit Dimension when created, and click OK. That way, the next time I make a dimension, and this time I'm going to do from right here to right there. Next time I make a dimension, it doesn't do it. Okay, I find that really nice. Again, I find that really annoying that it pops up, so feel free to turn it off if you want to. You'll notice that when I placed a dimension, and let me place another one here, I placed it on the marks where I had, notice all the lines are solid right here, and then there's certain places it snaps to that makes it a dotted line. Okay, this just kind of helps you space out your dimensions, and I want you to be able to utilize that. So if you have two dimensions in a row, I'm just going to move these, and notice I'm not selected on dimension right now. If I was selected on dimension and I tried to move these, it wouldn't work. Okay, it would highlight that. I wouldn't be able to move it. So I need to escape and get off of where dimension is highlighted. Now I can move this just fine. Okay, notice that I can move these over to a point where they are now snapping to those places where they turned into dotted lines. Now I think these are too close. I'm actually going to move these out one more, and that looks about good right there. Okay, so again, let's keep on dimensioning. I'm going to dimension this feature up here just to kind of save some room. I could do the same thing I did on the top here over on the side, but I'm just going to use this one over here, 1.5, and then I can just make this dimension my 0.75. Notice if I would put this dimension on here as well, these would be duplicate dimensions. That's the same thing. So this is the depth of our object. We measure depth from our right side view, going from left to right, and from our top view, from bottom to top. That they both measure depth, and so I don't need both. So I can just escape. If I don't have dimension highlighted, click on my dimension and press delete, and it's gone. Okay, so again, I'm going to click on dimension. Now, I could go right here and start dimensioning that, but notice what happens. I have two dimension lines that are crossing right over here, and I don't want that. So I'm going to click escape, grab dimension again, and I'm just going to dimension them over here. Okay, so I have that one, and then from there to there, and then notice my overall dimension, meaning the one that's biggest, is on the outside, not on the inside. I do not want something like this. That would not be good dimensional technique. Okay, so I have my width dimensioned, I have all of my height dimensioned, and I have my depth dimensioned right now. I would say that I'm done. Okay, so I would just want to go to Save As, and we're just going to call this puzzle drawings. Notice I made it plural right there. One thing we can do is if we go to Place Views tab, I can now start a new sheet, And again, I'm going to go 1 to 1 inch. Feature block, Mr. Spath, name of drawing. You know, I don't know if I have a green piece, but I'm just going to label it green piece. And here we are. I have now two sheets open. And this basically means I can put all of my drawings in one file. I don't have to have individual files for each one, which I think is really, really nice, and I'd like you to do that. Okay, so again, I'd go to Base, and then open an existing file. And, oh, I do have a green piece. Sweet. Okay, open, and then I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to click for my right hand, or sorry, my front, my right hand, and my top view, and then give myself an isometric as well. I'm going to make this isometric shaded. So notice it says shaded right there. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and start dimensioning. Now this piece is really funky. We're going to have some dimensions on a lot of different sides here. So some of these can get pretty detailed, but again, they're not too hard. We're just dimensioning straight lines, so let's not make it too difficult on ourselves. So I guess one way that I would do this would be right here. I like to do those features on this side just because that's where the features are located. So dimensioning them to the left of my front view isn't something I would normally want to do, but it's something I'm going to do right now. And now notice I do not need this dimension right here. I could use it, but I already know this one because I have 0.75 here, 0.75 there. These lines are obviously straight away from one another, and so I would want to delete this 1.5 as being a multiple dimension. And then if we go from right here to right there, we'd have 2.25. Again, we would have a multiple dimension if we made this one of our dimensions, because I already know this. I can take 2.25 and subtract 0.75 and another 0.75 and get 0.75 there. So I would call that one a multiple dimension as well. Okay. Then just some other things. We would want to dimension this little part. And over here we would dimension the overall on the outside. And then one more, we wouldn't normally like to do it like this, but there's no good way, because if we dimensioned this right here, we would have crossing lines. And so we don't want that. I'm actually going to dimension it right here and just line it right up with my other one. And if I want to move them, again, I got to push escape and then push them in or out. So there it ties in, and there it ties in. So that's just fine. Okay, and then just keep working on your part until you think you have those done. Again, these dimensioning can sometimes be really tough. So ask questions. Make sure that you're doing this correctly, and practice doing it correct. Don't just practice doing it wrong. You get some marks back and then say, oh well. Practice doing it correct, because it is really, really important, especially for the Project Lead the Way course. So I hope you had a good time here. Hopefully you kind of understand how we do multi-views and dimensioning in AutoCAD Inventor. Again, ask your teacher if you have any questions, and comment if you have any questions for me, and I can get back to you. Thanks.